product management, customer marketing, product marketing, uh, and marketing communications and things like that, right? So we all moved into marketing for 8, 10 years. And it's interesting that, the salaries of compensation of marketing people is not very high, guys. And, we are giving all our talent and all our capabilities and everything. And, we pretty much make very average salaries and compensation when we move into marketing. And we are not, and basically the salary and compensation you get is an indication of how much the company values you. So, I basically had a job as an engineer for $65,000. And when I moved into marketing, I got a salary of $68,000, $3,000 more per year. And and then like slowly like 2% increase per year, and then slowly got to 80, 90, 100,000. And that is where I was after 10 years in marketing. And then I found out that salespeople can make $100,000 on one deal. Some salespeople in probably in almost every company can sometimes make $1 million a year, and the CEO might be making $300,000 salary, but the salesman, if he's very, very good, can make $1 million. And in fact, in Selectica and in OPTi, I have written $1 million checks for at least 2 or 3 salesmen every year, right? So, and my salary is $300,000, and even with bonus, maybe another $50,000. So basically, like, um, the company values salespeople a lot, 10 times more than they value a marketing guy, right? So, and here I clearly know that, I'm 3 times the IQ of the sales guy. I've got, a degree from IIT and an MBA and a master's from some top university. And the sales guy basically went to a community college, probably did a 2-year program. And he is 5 years younger than me, and he's making 10 times my compensation. And so, but, I always felt sales, oh, they don't understand technology. Oh, they don't understand brilliant new ideas. Oh, they are not very creative. Oh, they are not very innovative. And and as a consequence, I'm an IT guy. I'm this, that. I go understand latest nanotechnology, and I read about all this stuff. I'm really superior to this guy, right? That's how I kind of bullshitted myself for 10 years in my life, right? 10 years of my career that I was in marketing, I was basically brainwashing myself that I'm so smart, right? And then all these kids who went to community colleges and all that are walking away with $1 million checks. And so that was, and then like, so I was here, I'm like walking around convincing myself that I'm a great guy with doing this great marketing, etc. And then like, so we came up with this new, I was an amazing product manager actually. And we came up with this new product, prepared great brochures and everything, demo products, etc. and competitive strategy, which is all the things that marketing people do. And then, we had to launch this new product. And and then what happened was that the VP of sales at Chips and Technologies, wherever we were, where I was the product manager launching the product, says, Raj, you've developed the new product, looks very exciting. Do you want to come with me to the Far East for 2 weeks? We will go for uh, 5, 6 days to Taiwan. We will meet about 20, 30 customers, and then we will go to Hong Kong. We'll meet about 5, 7 customers there. Then we'll fly to Korea. We'll meet about 5 customers there. And then we'll fly to Japan. We'll meet 4 or 5 customers there, and then fly back in 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, we'll do a Far East sales launch for your new chipset. And he said, you'll get a chance. Somebody's scratching on this slide. Can you unscratch? Uh, so anyway, so basically, he takes me on a 2 week Asia sales trip, right? Yeah, Anshuman, you have a question. You can unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
In sales as well, the guys that you knew, though the ones which were working in big companies. I mean, if we compare that, sales is very broad. Like there are salesmen who work from door to door salesmen, and there are salesmen who work for big companies as well. So don't you think that you're just comparing marketing guys at big companies? I mean, marketing guys would be working at companies anyways. They won't be doing door to door things, right?
No, you need a marketing guy for a small company. You need a marketing guy for a big company. What's the difference? I mean,
In in a
everybody,
small
all
company,
the functions, marketing, sales are there in every company, small, medium, large.
no, but in a smaller company, as I'm comparing it with India, okay? In India, in sales, I see a lot of people without a degree are doing sales, as you said, and they are
Yep.
working with a very low salary, with a very low incentive that you say.
Yeah, their base compensation is very low, but their ability to get huge compensation or flexibly get huge compensation is very high because they're commission based. So a medical rep who is number one medical rep will make 10 times the compensation of the doctors that are buying stuff from him.
Yeah, true.
I mean, the guy has no degree, right? He's not a doctor, he's nothing. But if he's a damn good sales guy, medical rep, so that doctors love to buy from him, then he's going to make a fortune, which is, the same thing is true for a car salesman. I gave you the example of that car salesman who was like, making multi-million dollars in commission every year because he is such a good sales guy. Same thing in, uh, in just about every field. If you become really good at it, but some fields are more, uh, in marketing, you do a fantastic job, you'll get a $2,000 bonus. But in sales, you bring in a whale, you bring in a big deal, and you make $1 million. The big difference. And here, the $1 million is your right because there is a legal contract where the company does not have a choice but to pay you the $1 million, right? While the bonus, you still have to beg for that fucking bonus. I mean, it's like It's really kind of if you think about it, I would say that marketing guys, for all their intelligence, are getting screwed. Okay, so the reason why I'm kind of telling this is because I'm not saying you should not do marketing, but I would say do marketing for maximum two, maximum three. If you do marketing for more than 3 years, you are wasting your time. You know, uh, so as time goes on, actually, the value of a marketing guy goes down instead of going up. While as time goes on, the value of a sales guy goes up rather than down. Would you rather have a job where the longer you work, your value goes down? In fact, the saddest thing that I've seen in Silicon Valley is brilliant IIT engineers with MBAs from Harvard, MBAs from Stanford, you know, do marketing, and after 10 years, or by the time they're 45, 50 years old, uh, basically they're looking for a job. Basically, like, uh, people don't want to hire them because they want to hire the younger MBAs that are coming out of Harvard and Stanford for marketing. So actually, while for sales guys, if you have done sales for 20 years, my God, you're going to have a contact list. You're going to have longevity, history, partnership with so many important people in the world. A lot of the young people that you were friends with are now bosses or high level directors and VPs of sales, VPs of engineering and this and that at different companies that you are trust is very easy for you to establish when you walk into a company. Discovery is very easy for you to do because you've got a trusting thing. As a consequence, it's so easy for you to figure out how to sell to money, sell to the situations where there is opportunity to get a good amount of money. So basically, the sales guy in 10 or 20 years becomes invaluable. And people are just fighting to get their hands on a good sales guy. And while for marketing guys, it's the opposite, right? So as time goes on, your value goes down. So I'm not saying don't do marketing, because in marketing, you learn a lot very quickly about business without having to take responsibility for your decisions. The decisions are taken by, the responsibility for decisions is taken by management. Marketing guy can just come up with ideas and, try to sell those ideas, but he's not responsible if an idea fails, right? Or kind of responsible. So that actually explains why marketing folks over time get paid less and less and become even redundant in big companies. So, so actually, if you go to an organization, you'll find that most marketing guys are like 30-year-olds and maximum early 40s. And then you have the boss who might be 45, 50 years old. But if you go to the sales organization, you'll find, there'll be 20 sales guys who are all in their 40s and 50s, because these are the most valuable sales guys in the company. The company, the blood, the the oxygen for a company is the purchasing order, is the purchase order that comes in. So the money that comes in is what pays the salary and allows the company to grow and so on. The day the purchasing orders don't come in, guys, doesn't matter how brilliant an idea the marketing guy has, the company is going to start going down, right? So that's why whoever brings in the money has the highest value in the company. Okay, so that is just how people are valued. Anyway, so to continue on with the story about how I think I became, one of the top sales guys in the Silicon Valley technology industry, and how I learned sales, right? So so uh, so basically, like, I was a marketing guy for 10 years, guys, and I thought I was a very very good marketing guy, uh, but compensation was very low relative to the sales guys, 1/10 to the top sales guys. So for the top marketing guy to get 1/10 the compensation of the top sales guy tells you that there's something wrong with me. That I'm stuck with all my intelligence and all my capabilities in a job that is 1/10, valued as 1/10 of that of the sales function. So, and I'll tell you, it's very interesting. You'll find that if there's marketing guys and sales guys who are in a party, and suddenly the CEO of the party, CEO comes to the party, there are a lot of company parties, you know, the CEO, as you know, will will acknowledge you as a marketing guy and say hi, but he treat you as an employee. But when he sees the top salespeople, he just, you know, is so friendly with them, and he basically treats them as an equal, and they are talking about, they're talking about all, he's inviting them to parties, and he's sharing all his personal stuff with them. You know, this is obvious, uh, you know, not prejudice, but it's obvious discrimination. We are both employees. The reason why the sales guy can sell the products is because me as a marketing guy designed some amazing competitive products. So to a large extent, the sales guy is just taking the order. But yet the CEO in a party gives the sales guy, you know, he's treating the sales guy so much better than he's treating the marketing guy in the room, right? So it's initially just just being sharing some personal stuff, but I felt that the reason why he's doing that is because he's a white guy and all the salesmen are white, okay? But and typically all the marketing guys and the engineering guys are Indian or Chinese, right? So initially I thought that this was racism, kind of subtle racism going on in the company. But then we also had uh, a few Asian salespeople. We, because they were selling into Taiwan, so we needed somebody Taiwan speaking, and some Taiwanese people were promoted into got into sales, and I found that the CEO was being super friendly even with the Chinese, who was not a very sophisticated guy, couldn't speak English very well, but the CEO was very friendly with this Taiwanese sales guy. And then I realized it's not racism. It is the fact that the CEO considers the salesman as more fundamentally valuable to the organization than the marketing function, right? And why? You know, The reason is that CEOs of public companies have to worry about whether the company is going to make the next quarter's deal, next quarter's revenue target, profit target. He needs to know what is going on in the real world in terms of competition, in terms of shortages or oversupply, market demand. So the CEO needs all this information in real time. The marketing guy will give him like, okay, in 2 years, the world is going to, use machine learning and this and that. But the sales guy gives him instant, real world data points that will affect the company's success or behavior uh, in the next quarter, which might be, and a quarter might be ending in 1 month. So you can see as to why the CEO is paying so much attention to what these so-called lower educated uh, people are. But these lower educated people are also getting the highest compensation in the company because they are very important for the leadership of the company. Anyway, so I'm just, but this is important for all of you to understand that, no matter how well you're doing in marketing, how much adulation you're getting for being creative and all of that good stuff, do not get suckered into being a marketing guy for more than 3 years. More than 3 years in marketing, and in my book, you're a sucker, right? You're fooling yourself. Other people are not making you a sucker. You are fooling yourself that you are going to be you are very important for the company and this and that. Because in reality, the CEO is not paying attention to you. The leadership is not paying attention to you, as much as you deserve. They'll pay attention to you when you're giving them the 5-year plan and all that stuff, or you do a competitive analysis and presenting. They'll absolutely give you appropriate, importance and time, etc. But uh, for the rest of the time, you are just an employee. You take the salary, and that the CEO and the leadership has to pay for that salary, right? So that is reality 101. That is how the real world operates. And when you guys start companies, I can bet my bottom dollar, I can bet my last rupee, this is exactly how you're going to be thinking too. The person that you really want to talk to in a party or any other time is your sales guy, not your marketing guy, or your VP of engineering. You want to talk to your sales guy. He's the guy that has the most interesting information, most valuable information is actually sitting in the sales guy's hands, right? So that's why they're most important. Okay. Marketing guys do go up the ladder to become CMOs in companies. Yeah, chief marketing officer, they do become, but it's still marketing. So his salary might go from $100,000 to $200,000. But by the time he's 50, guess what? He's going to be kicked out because they want to have a CMO that's more dynamic, younger, who understands ML, AI, and the future of biosynthesis and things like that. So don't expect to be an old marketing guy. There is no such thing as an old marketing guy. There's the only thing that there is old unemployed marketing guys, right? So I want you guys to really understand the pecking order in corporate world. Okay, and and so I really look at marketing as a great area to learn a lot when uh, but it's not where you want to end up. You want to end up as the CEO or the president operationally, or you want to end up as the VP of sales or VP of sales and marketing. You can keep marketing under under you too. So you can do both, right? So which is what I ended up doing, VP of sales and marketing, right? So, but the most important uh, uh, and the most important job in a company is the CEO's job. And you want to end up in the CEO's position, but you'll never end up as the CEO of a company if you don't understand how to sell. And so I was this marketing guy for 10 years and I knew I wanted to become the CEO, but I just I couldn't convince anybody to make me CEO. And so here I'm a marketing guy. I'm getting to be old. I'm getting to be like 35 years old, 36 years old, 37 years old, and I'm still a marketing guy. And some of my IIT friends who are like 45 years old are being pushed out of their companies. They're being laid off first, and they can't get a new job. And I said, my God, I've got into a dead end career, this marketing job. And anyway, so on the one side, like, um, I was doing great work as a marketing guy. On the other side, I can see that my marketing career is actually a dead end job, right? So uh, because I could see what was happening to my IIT friends who are my seniors in Silicon Valley. And so anyway, so one day this Steve Shank, who's the VP of sales for the Far East, says, "Hey Raj, do you want to come?" So me being the great marketing guy, prepared the most beautiful presentation, demo kit, collateral, brochures, handouts, and I prepared everything and uh, got into a plane. And, normally marketing guys all travel economy because, and we are so happy to travel by plane, but we travel economy. And, that is the company policy. All employees have to travel economy. I go to the airport and Steve Shank says, "Raj, give me your ticket." So I say, "Okay, here's my ticket." He goes over to the counter, and then after about 10 minutes, he says, "Raj, here's your ticket. Um, I've upgraded both of us to business class." I said, "What? We are going to all these places, Hong Kong, Tokyo, Seoul, Taiwan, and traveling by business class, which costs 3 times as much as economy. How the hell does the company allow you to do that?" And he says, "Raj, don't worry about these things. But, I only travel business class." I said, "Okay, sales guys travel business class, marketing guys travel economy class." Okay. And actually, and so first time in my life, I'm going in business class, right? So, and then he says, "Raj, this is how you travel in business class." So as soon as we got into our seats and the drinks came, he said, "Okay, gin and tonic." So he got the gin and tonic for me, gin and tonic for himself. And then after the flight took off and the appetizers came, warmed up almonds and cashew nuts and everything, he said he ordered a beer. So we had beer with the appetizers, and then the first dish comes, yeah, salad and everything. He said, okay, but the first dish, salads, everything, you got to have white wine. So we had a glass of white wine with our salads and everything. And then, the entree comes, the main dish. He had non-veg, I had veg. And he said, with that, you have red wine. So we had a red wine with that. And then after finishing that, dessert comes. So with the dessert, he said, you got to have, one of these, you got to have one of these, you got to have a Kahlua coffee with Bailey's cream with your dessert. So I said, okay, Kahlua coffee with Bailey's cream with my dessert. And then he said, now after dessert, you got to have a cognac. So I had a cognac. So, I used to drink one beer every week over the weekend. And here in one meal, I've had like 6 drinks back to back, right? But I can tell you that, and he said that now we go to sleep. So, and then for the next 8 hours, you're sleeping, and but I had never taken so much alcohol, but it was fantastic. I was in a great state when you drink this kind of best alcohol in this kind of sequence. Uh, but that is the way sales guys live. And here I'm a marketing guy with 10 years experience with these big degrees. Steve Shank has got maybe an associate's degree, and he is traveling business class every time. He is eating and drinking like a king or better than a king. And I am with this brilliant guy is traveling economy class, really cannot stretch out my legs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so we reach Taiwan, and then he says, Raj, our first meeting is at 8:30 in the morning, at 8 o'clock in the morning. And, after that, we've got another 6 meetings, sales meetings, uh, back to back, right? One after the other, 6 sales meetings, 1 hour sales meeting. And he said, you need to be no jet lag. You cannot have a jet lag. Uh, you got to be smart and up and ready by 8 o'clock, and have all your collateral and everything, and we'll start seeing customers. So I said, okay, but I drunk so much. And he said, okay, Raj, I'm going to give you a secret. First thing you do is go, it was about 6 p.m. in the evening. I said, go to your room and turn on the hot water in the tub, but make the water so hot that you can barely put even your finger in the water. And then slowly, slide your body into the super hot water, 1 inch at a time, and then soak in that water for 15 or 20 minutes. And he said that will reset your jet lag clock. And I said, okay. Till now, like he knew what he was doing. He had upgraded me from economy to business class. He had given me the food and drinks that I didn't even ever imagine anybody could have such food and drink. And we had a luxurious, long stretched out sleep on the plane. And, so I said, okay. And that's what I did. And it's amazing. No jet lag, And then he said, after that, he said, we are going to have a light dinner. And so we had a light dinner, and and then he said, okay, now we go and get a massage, right? So he took me to this massage place, and then for an hour and a half, you know, you get pounded into the ground with this deep shiatsu uh, pressure massage and knock massage, and then back to the hotel, and you sleep like a dog. But boom, 7 o'clock, you're up. Your body is fresh, and you're ready to go. And the reason why I'm sharing with you is that a lot of you will be doing um, travel because you guys are IIT guys and you guys are the creme de la creme of India, and most people don't know how to travel, and this is how you're supposed to travel, and this is how you're supposed to get out of jet lag. And I think if there's one thing that you learn from this entire course is how to travel and how not to get jet lag, it's probably been the most valuable things that you already got out of the course. Anyway, so jet lag is gone and I'm fresh and it's 7 o'clock in the morning and I'm there. I've got everything down, and exactly at 7:45, Steve Shank comes into the lobby. The and we go to the first sales meeting. So we go to the first sales meeting, and I'm so fired up. I've got my presentation. I've put it on the table. I've made copies. I've bound them. I've got everything ready to go. I'm ready to start presenting. I'm the great marketing guy who knows everything. I've worked at Intel. I know the future of the world, and I know the future of PCs and architecture of PCs, and I'm going to educate all these customers in Taiwan and Hong Kong and Japan about everything that about the future of PCs and why they should use my chipset. And Steve Shank, goes, starts, he connects with the customer. He asks him how his family is doing. He asks him how the business is doing. He asks him what happened about this thing, about that thing, about how's his golf game going. For 20 minutes out of 1 hour, he's talking about all that stuff and saying, why is he not talking about the future of the computer? Why is he not talking about how Chips has come up with this brand new chipset and I'm the product manager or director for it? And how it's better. So he's talking about all of that stuff, right? And then after he's talked for 10-15 minutes, the tea, the host brings in the tea and everything comes in, they're sipping the tea, and then he's asking about how his biggest customer likes the product that they're selling, and what is his key concerns, how the factory is running, do they have all the other accessories that they need for building their PCs and motherboard. Suddenly it's like half an hour of is gone. And I had a 25-slide presentation, which will take exactly 1 hour. I'd practiced 20 times in order to deliver this 1 hour presentation. And he's already used up half an hour from the meeting. I figured we'll get another half an hour at the end. Maybe we'll extend the meeting. But I knew that there were back-to-back meetings, so we didn't have that extra half an hour. So half an hour out of my 1 hour, I have traveled 10,000 miles for and taken 2 weeks away from my important marketing job to do a sales trip with this guy. And he's taken away half my meeting presentation. And still he keeps on talking, asking more and more questions. He says, tell me exactly what is the problem? What did the competitor tell you? He's coming up with some new product. Uh, what features does it have? And he's asking all these questions, and I'm just getting upset, and I'm ready to get up and start and catch Steve Shank's attention and push my presentation to the CEO. And this guy says, no, wait. And then 15 minutes are left, 45 minutes out of 1 hour presentation. And he says, okay, Raj, why don't you tell them about our great new neat chipset? I'm looking at Steve and saying, Steve, in my eyes, as telling Steve, I can only do 3 slides in 15 minutes. I can't do my 25 slides. I can't tell them everything about this great new technology that we've implemented in this thing, and how it reduces the cost, it increases the quality, and this and that. I said, I've got 25 slides with all this material, and there's no way I can present it. And for 15 minutes, and I just stumbled through the first slide, second slide, third slide. I'm speaking in very good English, and the customer just looks at me, and this is a customer that has been a chips customer for obviously a long time, a lot of history, a lot of longevity, was already there, right? Steve Shank knew him personally. So and here I am doing the value selling with my 20 slides, which was a 1 hour presentation, and I've only been given 15 minutes. And it was I knew that the presentation went horrible because I only went through 4 slides out of 20 slides. And as soon as the meeting ended and we go out into the elevator, I jump on Steve Shank. I said, Steve, what did you do? You wasted my whole time flying all the way to Taiwan to, promote this neat chipset, and why did you bring me here? I was so upset that he had wasted my time to come on a sales trip to launch the new neat chipset, and he's giving me 15 minutes out of 1 hour. And Steve said, okay, let's have a coffee. And he took me to a coffee set and said, Raj, can you tell me what are the top 3 problems that this customer had? I said, no, I don't know what 3 problems he had. And then he said, can you tell me, how the product we have, the new product that you're launching, and then he said, okay, these are the 3 problems. One is that his manufacturing yield is like 90%, 10% of the boards need rework. So that was problem number 1. Problem number 2 is that the boards get overheated when the customer is in the customer's laptop, and his customers are worried that that extra heat in the laptop is going to damage the screen and things like that. So that was problem number 2. And problem number 3 is that he's been a loyal chips customer for the last 3 generations, for almost 6 years, and but there is this competitor who's come in, who's got a chipset that is going to basically address these problems, and they're going to give them samples in 1 month. So these are the 3 problems that this customer has: whether how to stay loyal to chips, how to solve his manufacturing yield problem and how to take care of the heat problem. These are number 1, 2, 3 problems. Can your new neat chipset do this? And I said, of course. We are so much, now we have reduced the number of components on a motherboard from 80 to 35. That should automatically improve his yield from 90 to 99%. By reducing the number of chips and the heat consumption and the new CMOS technology that we've got, the heat problem is going to be 1/10 the heat problem. And he said the competition doesn't have all of this new memory interleaving technology that we have patented at Chips and Technologies and is integrated into this neat chipset. And it's going to, blow the competition out of the water. He said, Raj, if that is so, and these were the 3 top problems of the customer, why did you not tell the customer that, sir, you have these 3 problems? Go to the whiteboard and write down problem number 1, problem number 2, problem number 3. And ask the customer, are these your top 3 problems? The customer says, yes. Does he need to know very good English if you write it on the board? He says, no. So you write these problems, and then you say, okay, I have a chipset that is unbelievable, but I first want to tell you how my chipset can solve problem the first thing that you're concerned about, manufacturing yield. Second problem, heat. This is how we solve that problem. Third problem, let me tell you, this thing, technology, the latest new patented technology that you put in, that's going to blow the competition out of the water. And, the minute you just answer those 3 questions, but I said, Steve, my chipset can do 20 more things, and he said, Raj, the customer told you what he's concerned about, what his priorities are, the problems that keeps him awake at night. Once you solve those problems, then he's willing to listen to you, and he will basically agree with you. He will, we have done the deal, and then it's my job to negotiate the best price, highest price, maximum price that I can get, one that solves his problems that he's most concerned about. And so that's when the light went up in my ears, in my head. He said, God, you think he's going to tell me about all these 3 problems when he knows that I sell to all his competitors? He's going to tell me all of this stuff only if he trusts me that I can keep. I'm his friend, and I'm going to keep his personal information secret, right? I'm going to maintain the secrecy of his information. So unless he trusts me, he's not going to tell us what problems he's facing. And unless we know his problems that we can solve with the new chipset, how does he get convinced to use a new chipset? Right? So, and how can I figure out what to price the product at? Right? So you can see that Steve, who was the VP of sales, had been doing this for 20 years, knew this customer inside out, had been selling to him for 6 years, had spent the first 10, 15 minutes reestablishing the trust. Because remember, for the 2 months that he was not in Taiwan, because he would make 6 trips a year, basically the competition was hammering on him. His manufacturing people were hammering on the CEO, saying, You've got to change the chipset. This chipset is, 2 years old. The boards are 10% of the boards are failing. You know how much it costs. I don't have, you look at this big pile of boards that are not working. This chips is all shit. So for 2 months, while the salesman is in the US, the competition is attacking. The manufacturing people are attacking the product. Lots of damage is being done to the credibility and the reputation of chips when you're not there to protect it. So, so basically, you have to reestablish trust and say, look, I'm your friend. I've been doing business with you for 6 years. I've always taken care of you, always help you make a lot of money. Remember, you were just a kid when we first started doing business. Look at you now. You live in $1 million house. You've got a beautiful wife. You've got, uh, you know, two wonderful children who I helped you get them admission in a U.S. school. And how are they doing in school? So unless that trust is reestablished, this guy is not going to share all the problems uh, with Steve, and he won't know what price the customers are paying for the motherboard that this guy is selling, or the PC he's selling, or the laptop he's selling. And if he doesn't know the price that his customer is getting for the product, he does not know how much margin there is in the customer's business. So uh, he doesn't know what value to put on the products that he's selling. So you can see that he, being a professional sales guy, was following the sales diamond, and he was using it one by one. And he had set it up for me, the brilliant marketing guy, 10 years, to just answer the technical questions, make the customer comfortable that, the new chipset would do the job better for him and be the right solution. And then he, as a salesman, the great salesman that he was, and he was truly a great sales guy, would extract the maximum money. So chips would get the sale, would get the new chipset designed in, put the competition at bay for 2 years, and we would get the maximum price and get a reference customer on top of that. How good is that? So he had set it up for me, and by me following my marketing approach of selling, giving a presentation for 1 hour and having only 15 minutes to do it, I hurried through it and, botched up, spoke in English that the Taiwanese guy could not even understand. And I botched it up. Obviously, Steve Shank could fix it. But the point is that, I, as marketing guy, botched up a beautiful sales situation, which was just sitting in my lap. So anyway, so he explained to me this over coffee, and in the next meeting, while he's doing his trust and discovery process, I'm making notes. In fact, I go over to the board by the sixth or seventh meeting. As soon as he would start talking, I would go over to the board and start writing on the board, problem number 1, problem number 2, problem number 3. And as soon as he says, okay, Raj, can you explain to them your new chipset? I will go ahead and knock off his problem 1, problem 2, problem 3. And then, you can see, I mean, the meetings went so amazingly well that in that one sales trip, we convinced every customer in Taiwan, every customer in Hong Kong, every customer in Japan, NEC, Hitachi, uh, every customer in Korea, Samsung, Hyundai, all of these guys used to make PCs, Trigen, to switch their design to the neat chipset. And in the next 12 months, the chipset that I launched in 2 weeks in the Far East ended up generating more than 60% of the revenue of, no, 50% of the revenue of chips and technologies, but 90% of the profit of chips and technology. $100 million profit came from that one sales trip. And, at the end of the sales, after 1 year, I was the product manager or the marketing director. I got promoted, got a $5,000 salary increase for my promotion. I got a, $5,000 bonus for making the neat chipset successful. And chips made $100 million of profit. And Steve Shank probably made a multi-million-dollar commission that year. And I was driving a 10-year-old Toyota, and he was driving, a brand new flaming Porsche, red Porsche. And, basically, like, my three co-founder, my three engineers who developed the neat chipset, and I who marketed the neat chipset, went to the boss, the general manager, and said, we designed the neat chipset. We worked night and day. Raj launched the neat chipset in the Far East. We generated 90% of the profits for chips and technology. We need to get a big bonus. And they said, look, if we give you a bonus, we're going to give another 500 people a bonus. Everybody does their job. Everybody works hard, So, we've given you $5,000 bonuses. $5,000 bonus after generating $100 million of profit for chips and technology. The VP of sales who didn't even know the functionality, the great technology and functionality in the neat chipset had got multi-million-dollar bonuses. He was driving Porsches costing $100,000, and I could barely afford the payment on my 10-year-old Toyota. And the same thing with my three other Taiwanese engineers. We all drove 10-year-old cars, while the CEO and the general managers and all of these guys were driving brand new Porsches because of the neat chipset success. And said, fuck, something is wrong. Something is really wrong. We do all the hard work. We are the creative people. We have the intelligence. And somebody else is walking away with all the profit and success in this business. And obviously, with my marketing skills, if I'd gone and decided to sell the product, I would have been a total flop, because I would not have understood the customer's problems. The customer will look at my 20-slide deck and said, I don't know whether this solve my manufacturing yield problem. I don't know if this will really solve my heat problem. I don't know if this will really be competitive with a competitor. Who knows, This competitor has also got a very smart Indian engineer. Chips has got a very good, smart marketing guy and good engineers. Both are very good. What difference? Everybody can do the job and or design chipsets. And you know, I would have definitely not succeeded the way Steve Shank succeeded in capturing the whole market in every country. So Steve Shank, with his sales skills, you know, captured the whole market, and me with my great marketing skills would probably have got 10% of the customers. And so you can see why, Chips was giving multi-million dollar commission checks to Steve Shank while he was giving $5,000 bonus checks to me and the engineers. Because we can design a great product, but if we can't sell it, the company is not going to make money anyway, right? So, selling the product is what makes a company successful and is the most valuable part of 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 of, uh, of how an organization works. Okay, so so basically, that's when I decided that frig, you know, from this day onwards, I'm not telling anybody I'm a marketing guy, but I'm going to essentially tell everybody I'm a sales guy, right? And after that trip, obviously I became a much better sales guy because I saw the guru selling to the Japanese. When he's selling to the Japanese, he sold in a totally different way. So when he was negotiating prices with the Japanese, he negotiated a totally different way. When he negotiated with the Korean, different style. When he sold to the Koreans, different style. Sold to the Taiwanese, different style. Sold to the Hong Kong people, different style. So I had, in 2 weeks, I had seen the guru, sell products to small companies, big companies, Japanese companies, Korean companies, Taiwanese companies, Hong Kong companies. I had seen, how sales was made to almost 35 or 40 companies of different personalities. And in some meetings we had 2 people, some meetings we had 20 people, and he sold successfully in all these conditions. And so I certainly got exposure and learned very fast from that day onwards about selling and the importance of the sales diamond and negotiating. So sales and negotiations together are the most fundamental skills that salespeople have that marketing people don't have, that engineers don't have, that 99% of the people in the world don't have. And that's why 99% of the people will live very ordinary lives, while 1% of the world lives like a king. They start from nowhere and and then go ahead and make a fortune, right? And it's all because of their selling and negotiating skills and the relationships that they build with people that last a lifetime, right? So these are the 3 things that will determine. I can write down for each of you people right now, if you work on these 3 things, where your career will be in 40 years versus what will happen to the people that don't work on these three things: selling skills, negotiating skills, and long-term personal relationship skills, right? So, or networking, personal networking skills. So these three skills are pretty much going to determine, you know, the quality of your whole life, in my book. You know, I mean, it is completely going to determine, whether, I don't know what family background, especially if you guys are self-made people and not living off your parents, but even people living off their parents, right? I mean, if you don't have these three skills, and you inherit property or anything or a business from your parents, most likely your business is going to go nowhere. It might actually uh, get destroyed by, because the world is very disrupted these days. So basically, very important to uh, these skills. Three skills are very, very important if you're going to make your life, or preserve your preserve and grow your family inheritance. So either way, um, okay. So any other questions? We talked about skill sets.